Welcome back, guys. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be solving the biology AMS for week 3. If you haven't watched my 2 previous videos about the human digestive system, make sure to watch them because everything I've said in the video is here in the quiz. I suggest you watch it more than once because the material is a lot and it's a bit dense, so make sure you understand it very well, and this quiz is going to be super easy. So let's directly begin. Which of the following are functions of hydrochloric acid in the stomach? So hydrochloric acid, it's acidic, so it maintains acidic medium in the stomach, and it also functions to kill any bacteria and other microorganisms that might be taken in with the food by denaturing their enzymes. We also have the other options. It converts pepsin into active pepsinogen. That's wrong. However, if it was reversed, it would have been right because HCl converts inactive pepsinogen into pepsin. It emulsifies lipids. That's the role of bile salts. And it activates the enzyme found in saliva. Of course not, because the stomach is not related to the saliva in the mouth. So let's move on. What happens as food is pushed along the esophagus by peristalsis? Remember, peristalsis is the repetitive contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles in the wall of the esophagus that ease the movement from the esophagus of the food from the esophagus to the stomach. So it is usually triggered by the entry of the food bolus into the esophagus during swallowing. It's pushed in several directions. Of course not. Food is pushed in one direction. The smooth muscles of the walls of the esophagus relax below the descending food, that's correct, and they contract above the descending food. Mucus secreted in the esophagus makes it harder. Of course not. We said mucus eases and facilitates the movement of food. Which of the following structures are present in plant cells but absent in animal cells? That's old material, but let's go over it. So plant cells have a cell wall and have chloroplasts, while animal cells don't have those two structures. Underline the organ that is not a main organ of the digestive system. So the intestine is a main organ, mouth is, kidney is not a main organ of the digestive system. So tooth decay and gum disease are caused by bacteria that are normally found in the mouth, and they combine with sugar, saliva, and other components, forming a sticky layer called plaque, and this plaque either covers the gums of the teeth and the enamel of the teeth, and then bacteria in this layer feed on sugar and produce acid, lactic acid, which dissolves the hard enamel because that's the outermost layer of the tooth and causes tooth decay. Tooth decay can be manifested by the appearance of cavities. So those are the definitions. We talked about them in the video. Ingestion is basically the taking in of food. Digestion is the breaking down of large insoluble molecules into smaller soluble ones. Assimilation, remember we said in the video, assimilation is always about the use by body cells. Absorption is the movement into the bloodstream. And then ingestion is the expulsion of food molecules outside the body. So hydrochloric acid in the stomach causes pepsinogen to be converted into its active form, pepsin. That's true. We talked about it before. The acidic pH of the stomach is maintained by the saliva. Of course not. It is maintained by the hydrochloric acid that is released by the gastric glands. So this is false. Many bacteria and microorganisms taken in with the food can be destroyed by the hydrochloric acid. That is true because that was one of the functions of the hydrochloric acid. Circle the process that consists of the repetitive contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles in the alimentary canal. We spoke about this. It is peristalsis. So we have to match each type of teeth to its corresponding description. Remember we said incisors are the ones found at the front of the teeth. They are present in front of the mouth and are 4 in each jaw. Canines are more pointed and they are next to the incisors. And then after the canines we have the premolars. Oh, we did something by mistake. Let's repeat it. Okay, the premolars are usually, we have 8, 4 in each jaw. And then finally the molars, which are used for crushing and grinding and include the wisdom teeth. Now the diagram, we even spoke about it in the video. I told you guys you have to understand the diagram and know how to label it. So crown is usually the visible part of the tooth. The root is under it. And then we have the enamel. Under the enamel, we like to have the dentine, which is the living part. And then we have the pulp cavity, which includes the blood capillaries and nerve nerve input, nerve cells basically, sorry for that. And then we have the gum, and then we have the cementum, and those are the blood vessels as we said they're in the pulp cavity, and then finally we have the jawbone. A thin layer of hard mineralized tissue which covers the root is going to be the cement. If they said the root, it's the cement, okay? The part found at the center of the root and contains blood vessels and nerve endings is going to be the pulp cavity. The white of non-living substance, whenever you see non-living, you're directly going to know that it's the enamel. The part of the tooth embedded in the gum is going to be the root. The visible part is going to be the crown. And then finally, the living part of the tooth is the dentine. Now we have to identify the stage of food processing. It involves the taking in of food. We said it's ingestion. It's the expelling, so ingestion. Transporting along the digestive system into the bloodstream is going to be the absorption. Breaking down large insoluble molecules by both chemical and mechanical. Remember, chemical is using digestive enzymes, while mechanical is the physical breakdown. It's going to be digestion. Quick uptake where they are used. Whenever you see the word used, it's actually going to be assimilation. We have to match the components of the saliva with its correct function. Remember, saliva is released by the salivary glands, which are found in the mouth. So mucus is allow food particles to stick together, forming a food bolus. Water provides the liquid medium, and amylase is an enzyme which starts the digestion of starch into maltose. The repetitive contraction is going to be peristalsis. Let's type it. Peristalsis. During this process, the smooth muscles, remember it's smooth muscles, not skeletal, they contract above the descending and relax below it, pushing the food in one direction into the stomach. Remember, the location after the esophagus is the stomach. So again, it's the labeling of the tooth. We have the crown, the visible part, the root is under. We have the enamel, the outermost layer. And then we have the dentine, which is the living part. And then we have the pulp cavity. And then we have the gum. Then we have the cementum. And inside the pulp cavity, we said we have blood vessels and nerve endings. And then finally, we have the jawbone. So it's also here we have to label it. So remember, before the stomach, we said the stomach is connected to the esophagus and the small intestine. So we have the esophagus at the top, and then we have the stomach. And then inside, remember, inside is the small intestine, and then what surrounds it is the large intestine. And they're asking us which body system is represented. Of course, this is the digestive system. Let's go next. What is the inactive form of the enzyme that digests proteins in the stomach? So the inactive form is pepsinogen, while the active form is pepsin. The active form, as they told us to circle it. So we circle pepsin and we underline what activates pepsin. Remember, we said it's one of the functions of the hydrochloric acid. Circle the substance this enzyme breaks down. So the substrate it breaks down is proteins, and it changes them into smaller polypeptides. Involves taking in of food, of course, it's going to be ingestion. Breaking down of large is going to be digestion. And remember, digestion begins in the mouth and ends in the small intestine. Okay? Again, guys, make sure if you didn't watch my previous videos, make sure to watch them. Okay, let's go next. So whenever you see physical breakdown, is directly going to be mechanical digestion. Those chewing, grinding, and churning of food are examples of mechanical digestion. Okay, mechanical digestion. The cutting and chewing by the teeth is an example of mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion aids chemical digestion. Remember, we said how it increases the surface area. This allows increased accessibility to digestive enzymes, and finally involves the chemical breakdown. Of course, it's going to be chemical digestion by the action of digestive enzymes. Okay. So match each part of the tooth with its respective description. Crown, we said, is the visible part of the tooth. We said the root is going to be the part of the tooth that is embedded in the gum. We have the ligaments, which extend from the cement to the jawbone to anchor the tooth in its socket. We have the enamel, which is the hardest substance. However, it's sensitive to acids, which we mentioned before in the video. And then the living part, as we said, the dentine, and the pulp cavity is the one that is found at the center, contains blood vessels and nerve endings. So here we want to talk about the type of the teeth. They already gave us the position and their function. So usually at the front of the mouth, we have the incisors. Right beside the incisor, we have the canines. At the side of the jaw, we have the premolars. And then at the very end of the jaw, we have our molars. And this is, again, just a quick labeling, which we mentioned also before. So make sure to check it out. Those molars are usually larger than premolars. We have to match each tooth type with its respective description. So canines are found at the front of the mouth. They're used for biting, so they are more pointed than incisors. Premolars have 2 or more elevated tips. Molars have 4 or 5. And incisors are found at the front of the mouth. Toothpastes are usually made slightly alkaline, which means basic, in order to help neutralize the acid. Okay? So we said acid is produced by bacteria. And then we have toothpastes, which are a bit basic to counteract it. As a process during which the small water-soluble molecules and ions produced by digestion pass into the bloodstream. So whenever we see pass into the bloodstream, directly think about absorption. And we said, where does absorption mainly occur? It occurs in the small intestine. It's the uptake where they are used. Look at the final word, they are used. It's going to be assimilation. And then as a process, expelling, so egestion. Okay? The undigested food consists of the fiber. Remember, we talked about it in chapter 1. We said fiber cannot be digested by our body, so we expel it outside. After a meal, food containing sugar is left behind in the teeth. The bacteria feed on the sugar and then respire without oxygen. What do we say when they respire without oxygen? We call it anaerobic respiration. So they respire anaerobically and change sugar into lactic acid. And this lactic acid dissolves the calcium in the hard enamel and causes tooth decay, which is manifested by the appearance of dental cavities. Tooth decay may spread deep into the tooth and can grow larger as the lactic acid dissolves into the softer dentine, which is the living part of the tooth. A dentist can clean and fill if they are discovered. If not, it can reach the pulp cavity, where nerve endings are present, causing a toothache. Okay? Underline the types of cells that would contain a nucleus. So remember, eukaryotes have a nucleus, prokaryotes don't have a nucleus. Bacteria is an example of a prokaryote, so it doesn't have a nucleus. Instead, it has a region called the nucleoid region, where the genetic material is found. However, eukaryotic cells have a nucleus. Plant cells are examples of eukaryotic cells, so they have a nucleus. Animal cells also, prokaryotic cells and bacteria do not have a nucleus. So could the following cell be a prokaryote? Remember, what did we say about prokaryotes? Prokaryotes don't have a nucleus, and neither do they have membrane-bound organelles. So this cannot be a prokaryote. Why? Because it has mitochondria, and mitochondria is a membrane-bound organelle. The cell diagram also, it cannot be a prokaryote because they're telling us it contains membrane-bound organelles where photosynthesis takes place. Remember, chloroplasts. And remember again, chloroplasts are only found in plant cells and not in animal cells. The above is a simplified diagram of a prokaryote. Why prokaryote? Because we do not have a nucleus. The circular DNA can be suspended in the cytoplasm and is not enclosed in a nucleus. And then ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis. Okay, so here we just have to say if the following structure is present or not. So since both are eukaryotes, both have a nucleus. Cell wall, remember cell wall, we only said it's present in plant cells, it's absent in animal cells. Cell membrane is present in both. Mitochondria is present in both. Cytoplasm is present in both. Ribosomes present in both, where we have protein synthesis occurs. Golgi body also present in both. Endoplasmic reticulum, it's also present in both. Glycogen is absent in plant cells. They have starch granules, while animal cells have glycogen granules. Starch grains are found in plant cells but not in animal cells. Chloroplasts are found in plant cells but not in animal cells. Lysosomes are only found in animal cells. Okay? Perfect. So this is also another labeling question. A is the cell membrane, B is the nucleus, C is the ribosome attached to rough endoplasmic reticulum, D is the cytoplasm, E is the mitochondria, F is the vesicle for transportation, and Golgi body is going to be G. So this is also very simple. You guys just have to know the conversion. So 1 millimeter is equal to 1,000 micrometer. So you can do the cross multiply conversion. So if I'm going to say, or look, let's start with part B. So since we said that 1 millimeter is equal to 1,000 micrometer, here they're asking us, so 1 micrometer is how many millimeters? It's going to be 10 to the power of -3. Okay? So, and we want to change millimeter to micrometer. We basically multiply by 1,000. So 70 times 1,000 is going to be 70,000. 2 millimeters to micrometers also multiply by 1,000. And here we're just going to get 384. Okay? Perfect. So how do we find the magnification? Magnification is the observed size of the image over the actual size. So they're telling us a cell which has a diameter of 24 micrometers is viewed through a microscope as having 4.8 millimeters. So the actual size is 24 micrometer. The observed is 4.8 millimeters. Remember, change millimeter to micrometer by multiplying by 1,000. And then we get 4.8 times 1,000 divided by 24. And we will get a magnification of times 200. Choose the cell structure. Okay. Controls which substances are allowed to enter and leave. Of course, it's going to be the cell membrane. Site of cells reactions is going to be the cytoplasm. It controls cell division is the nucleus. Site of photosynthesis is the chloroplast. Manufactures energy from food substances is the mitochondria. It is the site of protein synthesis is ribosomes. Okay, so if their guidelines for proper teeth care are true or false. Brush the teeth properly at least twice a day. Of course, that is true. Use toothpaste that are slightly acidic. That is false. Remember, we said toothpastes are usually slightly alkaline, which means slightly basic. Use toothpaste that lack fluoride. Of course not. This is false. We need to use toothpastes that have fluoride because fluoride acts as a substance that helps or strengthens our enamel and makes it more resistant to the acids produced by the bacteria. Avoid sugary foods and drinks before just going to bed. That is true. So glands found in the stomach produce different secretions to facilitate digestion. Choose the correct answers. What is another name for the glands? Remember, we said gastric is the same for stomach, so we're going to call them gastric glands. Remember, salivary glands are found in the mouth, and pit glands are found in the small intestine. What is the main enzyme? We said it's pepsin. What are the substrates of the main enzyme? We said they're proteins. Which of the following describe the action of digestive enzymes in the stomach? So, pepsin breaks down proteins into fatty acids. Of course not. Pepsin is produced in an inactive form called pepsinogen. That is correct. And it's converted to its active form pepsin by HCl, which is hydrochloric acid. Pepsin becomes activated due to acidic pH. That is correct. HCl provides the acidic pH needed for pepsin activation. That is correct. Okay, remember we talked about two types of teeth. There's milk teeth and permanent teeth. Milk teeth are usually found in children. So which of the following belongs to a child? Of course, it's going to be milk teeth because it has a set of 20 teeth, while permanent teeth have a set of 32. So they're telling us now use diagram 2 to complete the table. A and B are usually our incisors. C is the canine because they're a bit more pointy, and they're also used for biting and cutting pieces of food. And then after we have D, E, F, D to E, which are going to be our premolars, and then F, G, H are going to be our molars, and they're also used for crushing and grinding food. And now they're telling us choose the correct answers to label diagram 1. So remember, in milk teeth, we do not have premolars. Okay? So A is going to be an incisor, B is also going to be an incisor, C, canine, D and E are going to be molar since we don't have premolars still. Okay, the smallest living part or the basic unit of life is a cell. Group of organs form an organ system. Group of cells form tissues, and group of tissues form an organ. So xylem is a type of tissue, a leaf is an organ, and a shoot is an organ system. So cell specialization is when a cell becomes adapted to do one job. Neurons are an example of that. They send signals or nerve impulses within the body. So we have the dendrites, which receive signals from other cells, and they conduct them to the cell body. Cell body, we have the cytoplasm, the nucleus, and the mitochondria and other organelles. And then we have the cell body conducts messages to the axon, which in turn sends the nerve impulses to the axon terminals, and then those send them to cell bodies of other cells or to tissues and organs. The structure of a sperm cell helps it carry out its functions as it has a head, and in the head we have the genetic material. We have the middle body, which supplies the energy, and a tail, which helps its movement. Finally, dead and hollow, directly we're going to know their xylem cells, and we can know from their function, which is used to transport water, and their cell wall contains lignin, have tiny tube-like outgrowth from cells to increase the surface area for the uptake of water and mineral salts. Imagine a plant, it's in the soil, so its roots are the ones that are found in the soil, and that's where they absorb the water. So root hair cells allow it to increase their surface area for the uptake of water and mineral salts. That's it for the video. Let us submit together. That's 100%. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments how many mistakes you get on the actual exam. Thank you guys, and bye.